All right, let's get started. This is Emily Whitney, and I'm really excited to spend time with you tonight. We're going to be talking about essential oils and how they can help our minds and our moods, and sometimes more importantly, the moods of our loved ones, like our spouses or our children. Let me start out by telling you why I love doTERRA. I am super passionate about teaching people that they have options with their families and their health care, and that there are steps that they can take at home to care for their families before going to the doctor. I'm so grateful for what I've learned because I use oils with my own family and I have loved what they have done to keep us healthy and the power that they give me as a mom to take care of my children when they are sick. So these are my 4 beautiful children. I'm a mom of 4, and that's where my experience comes from, almost all of it. I am not a licensed practitioner, so what I'm going to teach tonight is what I've learned from educating myself and what I've tried on myself and my family. But please just take the knowledge and make your own decisions according to how you feel about the information for your own family. For those of you who are new to doTERRA, let me give you a quick introduction. doTERRA specializes in therapeutic-grade essential oils. They're a natural health and wellness company. They were founded in 2008, and the name doTERRA means gift of the earth. One of my favorite things in doTERRA is the education that they provide. They're huge into education, and I love that they have put so many tools out there for us. They've taught us so much about the power of essential oils and how they can use them to improve our daily lives. They have a yearly convention up in Salt Lake, and then they have regional conventions in different parts of the country where they bring in scientists and essential oils experts and they teach us. And that for me has been really incredible. I've had enough training to be 100% confident in what doTERRA does, and hearing the experts in science in their fields show their findings has been really eye-opening. If you want to learn a ton about essential oils in a short period of time, I highly recommend that you check out one of their conferences or conventions. So let me run into just a brief introduction on essential oils and what they are. Essential oils are natural aromatic compounds found in plants, either in their seeds, bark, stems, roots, flowers, or other parts of the plant. On the left here is a peppermint leaf, and then on the right, it's a super zoomed in picture of a peppermint leaf. You can see the little oil sac right there on the leaf. The oil gives the plants their distinct smell, and it can also protect the plant against predators or disease, and they play a role in the plant's pollination. We extract the oils through different methods. They're either steam distilled or cold pressed, depending on the oil. It's a tricky process because if you don't do it perfectly, at the perfect temperature, it'll damage the oil and hurt the healing qualities. The extraction process is a big part of the quality of the oil. So they're super powerful and they're concentrated, and they don't have the side effects that many over-the-counter medications contain that are bad for you. In fact, they usually have some really awesome side effects. So let's talk a quick second about essential oil safety. Almost all of the oils are very gentle and safe to put right on your skin. As a general rule, you don't want to put them in your eyes, ears, or nose. These are areas that are really sensitive and the oils are strong, so don't put them there or they'll probably bother you. And they weren't really created for that. A few of the oils are hot oils and are powerful. They're so powerful that they'll hurt you if you put them straight on your skin. So a couple oils like oregano, thyme, cinnamon, and clove, there's some good examples. If you ever put the oil right on your skin and it feels sensitive or it bothers you or it's hot, you can dilute it. You can dilute it with another oil so it's not that strong. Now, you don't want to dilute it with water because you'll have the problem of the water and the oil separation, where the water will actually be pushed further into your skin as it tries to get itself away from that oil. So it'll hurt more if it's already bothering you. So instead of using water, you want to use a carrier oil, like doTERRA has their fractionated coconut oil. You can also use olive oil, a regular coconut oil, or a vegetable oil. If you use one of those oils, it'll be a little bit greasy. The fractionated coconut oil is really nice because it absorbs really well into the skin, and so you don't have that greasy feeling when you're done, and that's why I prefer it. But in a pinch, I'll grab whatever. I've actually gotten oils in my eyes before, on accident, of course, once I was closing a bottle of cinnamon, and then I rubbed my eye and got it in there, and it burned really bad. So I just grabbed some fractionated coconut oil, put it right on my fingers, rubbed it in my eye, and it calmed down really quickly. So if you have that problem, you can use that solution, but I don't recommend that you put them in your eyes intentionally ever. All right, so why choose doTERRA essential oils? I have been using essential oils for about 9 years now. I discovered them before I had my first child. I had ordered them through family members and used them on myself. And then once I had kids, I started using them on my children. I never really felt like they did that much. They smelled nice, but I didn't actually see the benefits that I was hoping for when I used them. And so I didn't use them that often. I would come back and try them every now and then, but I just kind of was disappointed. So when someone invited me to a doTERRA class, I was like, look, I've been using oils for a long time. I know what they do. I'm good. I don't care, you know. But I gave it a chance and I went with her and I tried some of their oils and I was so impressed at the difference in the oils and the quality. So one thing to know is that all oils are not created equally. There are a lot of different qualities out there. You can find them anywhere. You can find them at the dollar store. You can find them for all kinds of range of prices. But for those of us that have used a lot of oils, you'll find that some don't work. Some just don't do what they should do. And it's because the quality isn't there. So here's the doTERRA difference. If you look at this blue part of the graph, this is the amount of synthetic oil that's out there. So synthetic oil mimics the compounds and it's synthetically produced. So perfume grade type things, they're going to have that in there. Smelly stuff, your smelly lotions. The next one's this green part, the food grade. That's the grass standard grade. That's what we use to flavor things. So any kind of oils that go into food to be flavored. Then smaller than that is the therapeutic grade. It's used more commonly in aromatherapy. Basically, a standard, the standard for that is that it's usually topically only. And then even smaller is the certified pure therapeutic grade. That's where doTERRA comes. It's the purest form, unaltered, straight from the plant, the highest grade and quality on the market today. You can't find another grade that's higher. There it is, certified pure therapeutic grade. So they're 100% pure and natural. They don't have any artificial ingredients, fragrances, or fillers. They're safe. They're certified to be free of pesticides and other chemical residues and weeds or anything that might have trickled into each batch. Each batch is tested. It goes through a gas chromatography test and a mass spectrometry test. And those tests identify what's in there to make sure only the oil is in there and none of the oil has been removed. And they do that with separate labs to make sure that there's no error. So they double check them with each other. If they don't pass their standards, then they don't use the oils. One thing I really do love about doTERRA is I know all of the owners now personally, and I know they all use the oils avidly with their family. And keeping those oils 100% pure and natural is the most important thing to them, the integrity of the oils. So they will never do anything that will cause them to separate the oils or to dilute them down or to change the components in any way. They really believe in keeping that oil whole and pure and not altering it. So this is why doTERRA stands behind taking them internally. Many companies say right on the bottle that you can't take them internally, but doTERRA takes the steps to ensure that the quality of the oil, the purity, and the potency are perfected on every single batch of doTERRA's essential oils. So they're all super potent. They also now label each bottle with a barcode. So if anything does come up where they're accused of not having a perfect batch of oil, they can look up that batch and they can pull those tests out to prove exactly the standard of the oil and what was in it and that it passed their high standards. So personally, I wouldn't recommend any other kind of oil. I really believe strongly in the purity of doTERRA's oils, and I have used other oils without having any benefits at all. And I'm at a point now where I wouldn't even use those other oils because I'm convinced that they have fillers in them or something in them that's not good for me. So I just stick with doTERRA's because I trust their purity and I trust the tests that they do. So there are a couple different ways that you can use the oils. The first one is in the air through a diffuser, and we're going to talk a lot about that tonight. It's just aromatically smelling it, so we'll get into that deeper in a moment. The next way is to put it on topically. If you have like a stomach ache or something that hurts, you can put the oil right on the spot where it hurts. A really common place to put oils is on the bottom of your feet. Our feet have big pores and they absorb the oils really well and quickly. And then with like the reflexology points and stuff, your body can take that oil and use it where it's needed. So with babies and stuff, you can put the oil on their feet, and within 30 or 40 seconds, you can usually smell it on their breath. It's kind of cool. It does travel quickly through the body. You can also, when it comes to smelling oils, which we'll talk a little bit more later, you can put them behind your ears or on the back of your neck. But getting them in your system, it kind of doesn't matter how. It's just try them a couple different ways and see which way you prefer the best. And then the last way to use them is to take them internally. As you see over here on the left, there's a capsule that you can just open up. You can drip the oils right inside, close the capsule up and swallow it down. Or you can put a drop or two in water and drink it or gargle with it. For those of us that are hardcore, that have used oils for a while, sometimes we'll just open our mouths right up and drip the oil right in our mouth. It's kind of a fast and easy way to do it without taking the time to get a capsule. So I'll do that with this On Guard sometimes. When I'm starting to feel sick, I'll just stick a drop right on my tongue. The oils that you can take internally have a supplement box on the side of them. Those are the ones that are made for internal use. Okay, so let's talk about the power of aroma. Have you ever walked into a room and you smell something and it takes you right back to a moment from your childhood? You know, a memory or a feeling. Aroma can be very powerful. It can have lots of benefits, and it can be connected to lots of emotions and feelings. There are tons of tools right now on the internet that we can use to educate ourselves and become aware of the medical benefits that are associated with aromas and aromatherapy and essential oils. So right now there is a study that's really popular going around that they've done at Vanderbilt University. If you want to search on YouTube for it, you can type in doTERRA Vanderbilt University, and it's a popular Fox News clip. And it just talks about an aroma study that they did with their practitioners, and they're actually still using the diffusers in the ER today because the studies were so wonderful. They had really, really great results. So we talked a little earlier about diffusers. A diffuser is a tool that's used to distribute essential oils into the air, creating an impact on the human body via the limbic system. So we'll talk more about the limbic system in a minute. Here is an anatomy picture that shows the sensory system. Our sensory system reacts to stimuli via receptors. An example is when we're smelling something. Here's our receptors. But there's a lot more going on than just the smell. The smell goes into the nasal cavity, and then it's picked up by the receptors right here of the olfactory bulb. And then from there it can go up into the brain, into the limbic system. Let's look at the receptor capacity from the olfactory system, which is our ability to smell. On the bottom of the slide, you'll see the odor molecules, and this would be like the stimuli. For example, an essential oil that you're smelling. It goes up into your nose, and the tiny little particles can then tap into the receptor sites, and the molecules will be received there. It enters into your system, it's received into your body, and then the receptors stimulate the brain. And the smell can have an effect on your brain and nervous system and create all kinds of responses in your body. So one of the coolest things about using essential oils and their aroma is that they work really fast. You know, if you're going to go get on some kind of a medication, there's this lag period, a waiting period. If you're feeling down or depressed, then you're going to have to wait until your medication kicks in and all these other things happen. But with oils and aroma, it's instantaneous. It goes right in and it can change you really quickly. And so you'll see this happen faster. Deeper into the body, beyond the sense of the smell and more into the brain, we can talk about the limbic system. The limbic system is often referred to as our emotional system. Here we have our responses to emotions and memories and hormones. The capacity that odors or cells have is that they practically reach in and touch our brains. They induce a response to the limbic system, and it's one of the most powerful things that we have to work with in regards to essential oils, especially when we're trying to create an emotional response. These are super powerful to help us get there. Let's talk about the nervous system. There are two parts of the nervous system that we're going to review. There's the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. So the fight or flight and the rest and digest. The sympathetic is the system which gives us the response that we associate with fight or flight. It's kind of a restless state. When we go into stress, when we overload our system, the stress can mimic disease, and it can cause the body to call into actions all kinds of chemicals when it's under stress. So we've heard of cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone, and as a result of cortisol being stimulated, oftentimes adrenaline, another stress hormone, will take us into action, and it solicits other chemicals to get going too. So it might get your endorphins going, throw some sugar into your bloodstream, and get you the energy that you need to respond. Because usually it's like a stressful mode, like someone's attacking you or you're running away or something crazy is happening. So your body responds by kind of pulling up everything that it has to give you the energy that you need to just deal with the situation, whatever it's going on. So it's kind of like a performance mode or a totally stressed out, freaking out mode. So imagine if a person is under stress for a long period of time. Sadly, the way we live today, that happens to a lot of us. We always have one thing after another, and we kind of live in this sympathetic state of stressed out. So imagine the chemical demands on your body when we're constantly in this state. It produces all kinds of hormones, stress hormones, and it burdens the body. And the hormones weren't meant to be secreted constantly, and they weren't meant to be in high levels in the body at all times. As a result of the stress, well, stress usually comes from some kind of a conflict, emotional, physical, spiritual, mental conflict. And as a result of that, you're going to have a negative emotion. When your body and your mind aren't aligned, your body will kind of feel pulled and tugged in lots of directions. And I'm sure we all know what that feels like with our lives when we're in that stressed out state. So that's when we feel frustrated, unhappy, and a little bit out of control. We respond automatically to bad aroma. Gross smells cause negative responses. It just happens without us even thinking about it. Negative smells can be stressful and cause negative responses. Powerful negative responses can also come as a result of certain smells that have chemicals in them. Chemicals that are harmful or unhealthy for our bodies. If a smell is repulsive to you, then I would recommend staying away from it. We don't need to add in more negative stress when we're trying to pull our bodies out of that feeling. With the oils, there are plenty to choose from, and we can choose the ones that we're attracted to and that agree with our body. Also, you'll find that some oils will grow on you. An experience I had with this early on with doTERRA was their Whisper blend. The first time I smelled it, I thought it smelled totally weird. I couldn't understand why anybody would like that blend. It just has some random stuff in it. But as I started using other oils and growing accustomed to the new smells and the ones I didn't know, I revisited it a few months later and found that it smelled completely different than I had thought it did originally. Now, it's one of my favorite blends. I wear it all the time, and tons of people stop me and ask me what it is because they like the smell of it so much. So your likes and attractions to smells can change with your experiences. When you're starting out, and especially working with your mood and emotions, I recommend that you pick oils that appeal to you and that have smells that you like. So going back to those, the two parts of our nervous system, the parasympathetic part of our system is the rest and digest state. It's a restful state. That's where we digest our food and our thoughts. It's a state of homeostasis, of balance, of equilibrium, and it's the opposite of sympathetic and the opposite of stress. So when looking at the stressed and negative emotions versus the positive well-being balanced state, our goal is to help people remain in that happy state. We want them to move over here to stable, balanced, equilibrium. This is kind of a healing response to pull yourself out of the stress. It's going to put you in a better well-being state, emotional state, physical state, spiritual state, and mental state. If you see the picture on this girl's face, she obviously is very relaxed and calm. And I'm sure we all would be if we could just take a bath in a bunch of lavender flowers. It would be lovely. The uplifting smell has the ability to reach in and to touch the insides of us just with smell. So our goal is kind of to live here. It's to live in this happy, calm state because the calmness will elicit those kind of moods, peaceful moods, calm and happy, and feeling aligned. So in this picture, you can see this girl smelling the oil, and she's got a very pleasant look on her face. When you smell an oil that's pure, it automatically elicits a more pleasant response. If we look at our moods and how they're affected by our physical conditions and how we can draw in aromas and how they actually create an amazing physical and emotional response in our body, that's how we can move from a stressful state into a more peaceful state of well-being. So the pure aromas are pleasing, the good smells are going to bring those positive responses. And doTERRA's oils are pure, balanced, and they're blended perfectly. So we're going to go into a mood continuum that was created by Dr. David Hill. He's doTERRA's chief medical advisor. He's awesome. He's well known throughout the essential oil industry as a premier expert on wellness and essential oils. So he created this doTERRA mood matrix. So we'll go ahead and dive into the mood matrix now. Our moods are a complex interplay of emotional and physical components. As we know, when we're affected emotionally, it almost always affects us physically. Sometimes just a little bit, but sometimes quite drastically. You can have stomach aches, headaches, sore muscles come on by what's going on in your emotional state, and it'll just find a way to affect you physically also. Much of our lives can be spent in emotional conflict, and sometimes it's very difficult to get out of that, and it can cause a lot of physical results. So this is the mood continuum that Dr. Hill created. As you see, it has two different extremes of emotional and physical states. For emotional, we see lack of peace on one side versus passionless on the other side. So on one side, it would be somebody who's antsy and unsettled or restless, versus on the other side, somebody who's passionless, apathetic, indifferent, feeling kind of blah. And then on the physical one, on one side we see stressed out, versus on the other side being physically fatigued and tired. Dr. Hill then took this layout, these concepts, and he put the two states on a crossbar so that they're like on a grid and they crisscross. So here we can see how the emotional and the physical interact with each other. And if we want, we can divide them into zones and we'll talk about each zone, where you can find out when you're feeling down, which zone you're in, and you'll usually fall into one of these places. Now, sometimes we have really bad days where we go back and forth between a few of them, or we're kind of all over the place. So those days, we probably want to use all the oils available to us. But we'll go ahead and talk about each individual zone so that you know which ones to start with depending on what's going on in your life that day. Okay, so here are the 4 mood zones. We're going to talk about them individually, starting over here on the left. Zone 1 is between no peace and fatigued. This is where you're angry or impatient. You might feel exhausted, grumpy, short-tempered, not have any tolerance. Physically, you might have like a headache or feel like your brain hurts because you're just so worn out. You can't cope. And then here we have our poster child of what this looks like, impatient and angry. I get there when I feel crazy because I have so much to do, but I'm so exhausted that I just want to collapse and I can't keep up, and so it kind of makes me irritated and mad. The next zone, zone 2, is between fatigued and no passion over here on the right. You might feel in a brain fog or just too tired. Maybe you didn't get enough sleep the night before and your brain is done and you just don't care anymore. You're not wanting to do anything. When we get here, that's when we feel apathetic because we're so tired and we don't have anything to give anymore. This can present itself physically in a brain fog or maybe a tightness in the chest. And it's when you feel just unmotivated and discouraged because you're physically exhausted on top of it. The third zone here is between no passion and stressed. This might look wigged out but passionless. One might feel hopeless and withdrawn, physically stressed out and with no passion. It's hard to get anything done or to light a fire under yourself. It's more stressful. You're going to feel apathetic and you can't get things going. It might manifest itself in chest tightness or lower back pain, but basically it comes across as just feeling kind of hopeless and withdrawn. Zone 4 is going to be between stressed and no peace. That's when you're feeling worried and tense. Maybe you're uptight. You might be flying off the handle, going crazy. You have too much energy because you're full of anxiety and stress. It could be because of a job or a child that maybe is hyperactive or giving you a hard time. Something that would leave you tensed and worried, maybe frustrated. Physically, it could present itself as an upset stomach or manifest in neck pain or some kind of pain. So basically, that's just worried and tense. Put them all together and it could put someone in a really bad state. Every now and then we have bad days where we're not in one of them. We're like bouncing between all of them. But for the most part, usually you can pinpoint 1 or 2 quadrants that you're in to get a feel for where you're at and to kind of see what direction you can go in that will be the most helpful for you. When you're stuck in these states for long periods of time, that will not only wear out your emotions and your mind, but it'll wear out your body too. Oftentimes, that's what leads us to sickness. It's that we wear ourselves so thin, maybe we don't get enough sleep or we have too much stress, and then some infection comes around and our immune system is down, and so it just overtakes us and we get sick and we end up spending a lot of time recovering. A good example for me where this would always happen to me was when I was in college. I would be cramming for finals, giving everything I had, stressed, worried, tense, no peace, scared, whatever, freaking out because of my grades. And then as soon as I would get a moment to stop, I would always get sick. I would always spend that week after finals in bed just because I would just totally drain my immune system where I wouldn't have anything left. It was kind of a sad way to always spend my breaks, but it happened to me many times. I remember being in bed after finals for it. So our goal is to be balanced and to use tools so that we can be in a peaceful state more often and not be stuck in these quadrants all the time. And so we're going to talk about the oils that are going to help us do just that. We can manage with doTERRA's blends. We're going to talk specifically about Serenity, Citrus Bliss, Elevation, and Balance. So for zone 1, the impatient, angry, stomachache, headache zone, we are going to use Serenity. Serenity is a calming blend. It has calming oils. It has a very sweet smell. It's happy. It's peaceful. I like to put it on the back of my neck or behind my ears. You can also put it on your forehead when you're going to bed or when you want to quiet kind of the chatter in your brain. It's an invitation to go into a peaceful state and it can settle your emotions. This oil is awesome for both adults and children. I like to put it on my children when they are kind of hyper and all over the place. It's great for people that can't sleep or people that are nervous or have a lot of anxiety. Moving on to the second zone. In this zone, we're going to use Citrus Bliss for the unmotivated and discouraged. It really tastes good. It smells good. People can't help but feel uplifted and be happy and smile when it's being diffused. It's just so happy and uplifting that it kind of smells like a creamsicle. It's one of my favorite oils to diffuse. It has a lot of different citruses in it that are very uplifting, and the vanilla just smells wonderful in there. So if I'm ever teaching a class or doing a booth, people almost always stop and ask for a sample of it. Just because it is such a happy smell. It's hard to smell it and not feel happy. It's also very invigorating. It's perfectly positioned between fatigue and no passion to be able to stimulate you. It can wake you up and get you going. Put it in a place where you'll smell it, like behind your ears or even just right under your nose or on your wrists, and it will rejuvenate that limbic system and get you up and going again. So the next zone is zone 3, and for that one, for the hopeless, withdrawn, no passion, stressed, we are going to use Elevation. Elevation is a joyful blend. There is something magical about Elevation. This is one of the oils that I really didn't like when I first started with doTERRA, but now when I smell it, it just has this enticing smell. It's very powerful. It's almost fascinating. It's got sandalwood, which is one of those wood oils, so it's got this sense of stability in it. But then it also has all the citrus oils that bring kind of a happy and light, uplifting aroma. So that's between the no passion and the stress for when you're feeling down or depressed. This oil will bring on encouragement, inspiration, and it's encouraging, and it's a great pick-me-up. The other thing I want to tell you about the Elevation is it's almost like the oil that you can put on that will magically lift people's moods without them even realizing it. It really does give you extra energy. So today I had my son didn't want to do his schoolwork. I homeschool him, and he was just so devastated and wanted my help, and I was working on my webinar, so I just was like, you have to just do this lesson without me. I'll catch up with you in a little bit. So instead of being able to help him, I just saw him moping around, and I went and I got Elevation and I put it in the diffuser. And literally within a minute or two of even just starting it up, he was like back to his old self, jumped up, started working on it again, didn't notice, got off the floor, wasn't melting away with mopiness. But it's kind of like a way that you can just lift your mood without it being that big of a deal. I've also heard some really entertaining stories about people who've used elevation to like stay awake or just diffused it, and how it's really kind of given them power-packed energy where they almost feel silly and they just have a good time. So another really uplifting and happy blend. The last quadrant over here is the grounding blend. Let's see, that's for when you're tense and worried, and it's called Balance. Balance is one of my very, very favorite oils. It is probably my go-to oil that I have with me everywhere I go. I have one in my purse, one by my bed, one in my kitchen. It's full of wood oils, so the spruce, rosewood, frankincense, blue tansy. Those are all woodsy oils. So if you think of trees, you think how they're tall and they're strong and they have deep roots. And it's a great example of just balance and sturdiness. So this is part of my daily routine. I put some on about, 45 minutes ago before we started to calm me down. But it's one of my go-to oils. I do like to mix it with wild orange sometime or citrus bliss. It kind of has a fun smell when you mix those together, where it'll be grounding and energizing at the same time. But it's great for when you're not feeling peace, or when you're feeling a little stressed out, or if you're tensed or worried about something. This is one that you can put on and it will just kind of reground you and give you that feeling of like comfort and peace, like, okay, it's going to be fine, I can do this, and just kind of keep you in that happy zone. This is also one of my favorites to put in a combination for my children. I like to put Balance and Serenity in a diffuser when they go to bed. Or I will put them in like a roller bottle with some fractionated coconut oil and just give them each their own roller bottle. So if they can't sleep, they can get it themselves and they'll rub it on the backs of their necks or behind their ears. But it's one that's great for calming them down at night, and same thing with turning off the mind and getting them to be able to rest. So here's our chart of all of the oils together. You can see on the left, these are the ones that are going to be good for calming, and these on the right are going to be good for having more energy and kind of a pick-me-up. There is a sheet that's floating around the internet right now that kind of has all of this stuff on it, a little bit of a cheat sheet. I will post that on my website so that you can download it if you'd like it. You can kind of refer to it down the road if you're wanting to remember this information. And there is a distributor named Dr. Susan Lawton who is really knowledgeable about the oils, and these are some of the blends that she recommends combining. She uses Balance and Serenity for forgiveness and release, Balance and Elevation for acceptance, Citrus Bliss and Balance to reset priorities, Serenity and Citrus Bliss for transitions into change, like a new house, a new job, maybe accepting new feelings from something that's happened in your life. Elevation and Citrus Bliss can be used to restore passion, and Serenity to improve your self-image. And then frankincense, she says, goes with everything. Frankincense is an oil that has sesquiterpenes in it, and those have been proven to cross the blood-brain barrier, so they can get right into your brain, and your brain can just ultimately use them quickly. There's a saying in doTERRA where if you ever don't know what oil to use, the saying goes, when in doubt, use frankincense, because it's good for so many things. It's a great oil. Another thing a lot of people have asked me about lately that's kind of a hot topic is focus, ADD, ADHD, and what essential oils you can use for it. Like we talked earlier, every person has a slightly different chemical makeup, so you might have to experiment to find the right combination for you or your loved one who is struggling with focus. Here are the oils that I most commonly recommend, but just remember you want something that the person's going to like, that's going to make them feel better. So if it's a smell that they really can't stand, you might try it a couple times and then move on to something else to find something that really they do like, because it's good to have oils that you like so you don't have that extra added stress. So In Tune is a blend that they came out with a couple years ago. It's got a very low and grounding feel to it. It's got some sandalwood and patchouli in it. And it promotes calmness, focus, and a balanced mind. Vetiver is another one that's highly recommended. It is calming and grounding and kind of like a natural tranquilizer. It smells woodsy, kind of like a campfire, has an outdoorsy smell. Balance, one of my favorites, like I talked about earlier, which is kind of my go-to oil. Very emotionally grounding. Also has all those woodsy oils in it. Frankincense feeds the brain, especially with those sesquiterpenes, and it can often help in ways that maybe you don't predict because it gets in there easily. Ylang ylang is good for calming and balancing an equilibrium. Serenity is very relaxing, like we talked earlier. It's a natural sedative, and it helps calm and soothe. It has some rum and chamomile and marjoram and a lot of really calming oils in it. And then one that a lot of people don't necessarily think of often is Slim and Sassy. Slim and Sassy is one that I've taken a lot, and I actually found that it really helped my brain. It was kind of like a nice stimulant. A lot of the ADD medication out there are steroids, and they're stimulants, and they can have a lot of bad side effects. The Slim and Sassy is a natural metabolic blend, but it also is a stimulant, and it's good for giving you energy. So this is another oil that could help your mood quite a bit, and for me, it helps my mind quite a bit too. So I wanted to include it here in the mood oils because I really think it belongs. Just as being one that will kind of wake you up and give you some energy. I like to take it internally. I know people who put it in their water. I personally like to put it in a capsule. I usually do 5 or 6 drops in a capsule with maybe some peppermint, and I just drink it down. Or if I'm like on a run or driving and I don't want to like get a capsule out, I'll just drop a drop or 2 on my tongue and push it up to the roof of my mouth, and it wakes you really fast. So that one's another one that I really like for ADD and for mood stimulants. I think it's awesome for energy. And then, not to leave out one of our #1 products, the Lifelong Vitality Pack. This is one that is awesome for your mood. Sometimes, you know, we get into that state of being so stressed out and so fatigued and not getting enough sleep and just suffering and dying in our motherly worlds and all the things that we have to get done. The Lifelong Vitality Pack is something that's going to feed your body. It's a foundation for your health. It's got the Alpha CRS, which is an antioxidant blend. That's going to feed your cells. It's going to help you get rid of the dead cells that are dying off. When your body gets rid of those dead cells, that takes a lot of energy, and that can really zap you and put you into bed because you're so tired. So that will help clear out those cells faster so that you have more energy, and it will feed your cells. And then it's got that omega blend, and I always have people telling me that actually look into the omegas. They tell me how impressed they are with doTERRA's omegas. It has a really awesome delivery system to make sure that it actually disperses inside your body. A lot of oils out there, a lot of fish oils and stuff, have the problem of not being absorbed because they are an oil in a water. Your body's so much water, and then you're taking this oil, and so they don't mix very well. doTERRA's oil is in a lipid format, and so it disperses really quickly in the body, and it's very readily absorbed. So it kind of doesn't matter how great your omega oil is if you're not absorbing it in your body. That's one of the reasons why I love theirs, is because it's got amazing stuff in it, and because I know my body actually uses what's in it. And then the last one is a vitamin, and it's just a super high quality vitamin. It's in a food format, so your body knows what to do with it. It just digests it like your food. So this contains nature's most powerful anti-inflammatories, including clove. Clove is one that's off the charts. It like blows away the acai berry and blueberries when it comes to antioxidants. It's also great for any kind of bodily pain. The #1 killer in America is inflammation. Things happen to our body and we become so inflamed that we're just full of pain, and that pain turns into worse things like cancers and diseases. And so this will counteract that inflammation and bring it down. So it's awesome for arthritis, back or neck pain, inflammation, and lack of energy. And then just a testimonial from me and from a few good friends of mine on our team. The Lifelong Vitality Pack is awesome for your emotions, for picking yourself back up again. It does have a 30-day guarantee, and they want you to take it for at least full dose for 30 days because lots of times our bodies are so depleted that, you know, if you take it for a week, you're not going to see a big difference. In fact, it might get worse because your body might cleanse a little. So you really got to give it a chance for that whole 30 days. I felt better after taking it for 30 days, but to be honest, I felt a lot better after taking it for a few months. And I think it's because when I started on these, my body was so depleted and deprived of nutrients and of sleep, because that's one of the things I've always struggled with my whole life, that it needed a couple months to really build itself back up again. Now I have more energy than I've had ever, and if I forget to take them a day or two, I totally notice. I notice a difference. I feel like I'm dragging. So I think that it's awesome for optimal health, awesome for your mood, and awesome for being balanced. So here we have our centered picture of when we get all of our moods and emotions in balance, we feel centered and we feel grounded. Here's a quick flyer. I'm going to share this on my website so you can download it if you like. But it's just a quick overview of the symptoms you might feel: angry, impatient, stomachache, headache, and what Serenity will do. It'll calm and it'll soothe. And over here with each of those. We have power. We have power to do something about how we feel and about our mood and about our energy. We are not only helpless. So when you're starting to feel down, pull out your oils, especially the mood ones, and start using those to get yourself awake and going again, or calm down. And remember that we want to live in that parasympathetic state where our body feels calm and peaceful, and where we're not constantly creating all of the chemical hormones that keep us stressed and keep us out of balance. And use the oils to just get back into balance. So that's our mood management class. There's a lot more information in the Modern Essentials book. If you don't have one of these, I recommend you grab one. They're $25 if you buy them on aromatools.com, or if you want to get them from somebody on your team. Lots of times we buy them in bulk, so we can get them for $20. That's a good way to get going with information. They also have little pocket guides. There's a couple different ones. There's an A to Z guide, there's a mini Modern Essentials, and there's a Dr. Mom one. Those are also inexpensive. We can send them to you for free. That's a good reference to just stick in your purse. So you can talk to the person who referred you to the webinar, or you can email us at contact@teamemily.com. When you're ready to get started, you can fill out an enrollment form. You pick a kit over here that best fits your needs. And just to give you some oils to get started with, the bigger kits are a better deal, and the nice thing is they come with more oils. The more you start using oils, the more you realize how much you like them, and lots of times you'll wish you had more of them. So I personally started with a $500 kit. It had a bunch of little, a variety of oils, and it was nice to be able to have that many to go to. If you want to start with a smaller kit, though, that's awesome too. You can go adding them as you need them and as you come across them. The next thing that you'll want to do is get on doTERRA's Loyalty Rewards program. They have a program where you can earn free products if you get on their, we call it LRP program, for a Loyalty Rewards program. The longer you're on it, the more products you get. So basically, if you order on that program each month, you start earning a percentage back on whatever you order. So if you order $100, then for the first 3 months, you're going to get 10% back. So you'll get 10 points in kind of like a holding bank. And then once you get to 4 months, it'll go up to 15%. Once you get to 7 months, it'll go to 20%. And then once you pass a year, you'll be up to 30%. So I often spend $200 to $300 on oils a month because I have a big family and we love them. And so I'm usually getting $65 to $80 back every month in free oils, which is really awesome. I save them up and I spend them like it's Christmas. I spend $300 or $400 at once. And for me, it definitely pays to be on the program. So you can go accumulating your oils bit by bit on this program, and then you'll get something back for it. There is no obligation to the program, so if you decide to try it and you don't like it, you can cancel it at any time. But it's a good way to kind of get the most bang for your buck. You definitely get the most back. It's almost like you're getting your oils for 55% off once you take off that wholesale discount. So that's a good way to go. I have free training videos at teamemily.com. I've got a couple long webinar classes, and then I have some shorter ones for new doTERRA members that show how to order and log in and do simple things around the website, and then some testimonials. So that's my passion, is to just try to help others to know that they can take control of their family's healthcare and have more power in their family when they get sick, and knowing what to do and how to do it. So thank you so much for joining us. That's our webinar on our mood essential oils, and I hope to hear good experiences back from you guys in the future on how they're working for you. This is Emily Whitney, helping you make the most of your family's healthcare.